So all that they seem to know is lies, deception, manipulation, propagandizing, gaslighting, and lying. Oh my gosh. Wait till you hear today's show. Oh my gosh.
People now in the know. You thought that you'd see the day that you could just get away from the ones you betrayed, who raised their voices to say you won't be trusted anymore.
And you won't be trusted. This time it's going out to the FBI. Yeah, it sure is. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. It is the 23rd of September, 2025. These are the WTF reports. I'm your host, Dave vonKleist, and as always, I'd like to just mention that we are brought to you in part by the Wave Watch. And if you haven't checked it out, please do so. You're doing yourself a tremendous disservice if you don't. Visit our website, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors button, and it'll take you down to, actually, there's a pop-up there. It'll bring you right to the information about the Wave Watch. So check it out. It's a Rife machine you wear on your wrist. Yeah. Anyway, that said, okay, there's several things I want to get to today. And, of course, the issue about the assassination of Charlie Kirk is, of course, on the front of everybody's lips. But we're going to get to that in just a little bit. But there are a couple things that I want to get to first. I don't know if we should be concerned about this, but there are folks that are talking about the possibility of us experiencing some really nasty stuff here in the United States. And yours truly has been screaming about the possibility of this happening for months and months and months. And, yeah, about almost 2 years now. Ever since the Biden administration opened up the borders and we had millions and millions and millions of unvetted, undocumented immigrants coming into this country. And I'm not against immigration as long as they do it the right way. But no, the doors were just open and they just let everybody in. And there were people from all over the world, from many countries that hate the United States. And many of them were military-age males without their families. Yeah. So the point is that we've got a lot of undocumented illegals from hostile countries that have been let into this country. And I was speculating, like I said, almost 2 years ago, that a lot of these guys were being given addresses, cities to go to, addresses where they would be, housed, they would be fed, they would be cared for, they would be given cell phones and cash and debit cards, and they would be briefed, and they would be, shall we say, given their missions, and just waiting for the word go. Now, what does this mean? This means we may see some terrorist cells exploding into action around this country. And there's a woman here, former CIA intelligence expert. I can't remember her name here, but I've seen her on several different interviews. I can't remember her name, but she put out this warning. Listen up.
About 10% of the attackers be suicide bombers, and they're going to bomb airliners. So there will be a very large-scale attack on the U.S. homeland. Does it all occur in a day? I'm not sure. But the terrorists are already here. The plan is operational.
The plan is operational. So, and she's saying it could be airliners. It could be. We don't know what it could be. And there's also reports going all over the place now in mainstream networks saying that there are Al-Qaeda cells all around the country. So is it possible that we are going to see some really nasty stuff happen? I think so. Let me see. There's several different other things that I wanted to get to today. Let me see. I'm just scrolling through my list of audio clips and trying to figure out which way I'm going to go first. Oh, up in Canada. Oh, what's going on up there? Have you heard about the ostrich farm up there? Well, there's about 400 ostriches up in Canada on this ostrich farm. Now, they have been doing some research because they found that there are antibodies in ostrich eggs that could combat bird flu. That's a good thing. We're always hearing about, the scare tactics. Oh, we're gonna have a bird flu outbreak. We're gonna have this and that. So this is one of the reasons why they've been raising these ostriches, so they can do some research and working with these eggs. Well, I guess the Canadian government, which is basically taking their marching orders from Big Pharma, they don't want that to happen. So what are they going to do? They're declaring that these ostriches are a threat to the public health, and they're going to cull them. They're supposed to start doing it today. Okay, here's the Canadian farmer. Let me see, what is her name? Katie, from the Universal Ostrich Farm in Edgewood, British Columbia. And she's making a desperate plea to President Trump. Here it is.
Mr. Trump, President Trump, this is a cry out, a plea from Canada. Please stop the slaughter of almost 400 healthy ostriches that are going to suffer today or tomorrow. We need a miracle. The world has been calling on a miracle. This is of interest, as you know, I know you know. Yeah, you would say hello. They are claiming that these animals are virulent and that have a virus and that they're sick, but instead these ostriches hold the key to humanity with their antibodies that can help with therapeutics and new innovative science that can actually make us less reliant on vaccinations and pills. This is for our children. This is for our grandchildren. This is for freedom. This is for hope. All of our animals have names. Our oldest is 35. And Carney, Mark Carney, nobody will listen. All of our politicians have just turned a blind eye. Please help us, President Trump. Please help us in Canada. The world needs you right now. We need leadership. We admire your leadership and we are calling on you. Please, please help us. At Universal Ostrich Farms in Edgewood, British Columbia, we are asking for a miracle. Thank you from Katie Pasitny.
Now think about this, folks. What has the world come to when a plea comes from another country to the United States for help? I mean, in this particular situation. Okay, I mean, she can't go to Mark Carney. She can't go to her own authorities. They won't even listen. They won't listen because they have an agenda. And what is their agenda? Well, it seems to me that they're more concerned with protecting the interests of big pharma than they are for the public health. If these birds, these ostriches, really do hold antibodies that could help people, it doesn't make sense that they would want to cull this herd. And she says they're perfectly healthy. And while she was talking, some of these ostriches on the video, they were coming up and nuzzling her. I mean, these birds are friendly. Now, meanwhile, there are some people that have shown up there. And there's one guy here I don't know who he is, but they were interviewing this guy. And they're making it very difficult for anybody to stick around. There's no bathrooms. There's no food. And somebody said, well, I'll go out and get some pizza. And the authorities say, well, if you leave, you can't come back. That's what's going on up there.
We were just told by another supporter here that they tried to leave to go get a pizza. And we're told, if you leave, you cannot come back.
So now we get starved out?
It sounds like that.
Isn't this kind of like Ottawa when we were on Wellington Street and we couldn't even go to the bathroom, get a burger, get something to eat because we were in a red zone, and if we left that red zone, we weren't welcome back? Everybody talks about Ottawa 2.0. This is Ottawa 2.0, Drea. Edgewood, British Columbia, 2025, September 21st. This is Freedom Convoy 2.0. This is exactly what they did to us then. They're doing it to us now, and they will continue to do it to us moving forward until they choose to stand on the right side of history, until all of you choose to stand on the right side of history. That's all we need is people to take a stand, and we will not be going through this stuff anymore, people. When's enough going to be enough? When are we going to rise up? When is the right and the left going to realize that they're controlled by the same master? That 1% created a left and right to control 99%, so you blame me and I blame you, and the top keeps doing what they're doing. When are we going to wake up? When are we going to wake up?
He's saying the same thing.
Thank you.
He's saying the same thing that I've been saying and that many others are saying, is the powers that be want the right and the left to destroy each other. They want a civil war. They want Republicans versus Democrats, liberals versus conservatives, red versus blue. They want a horizontal civil war, right versus left versus right. And as long as that happens, the people up at the top looking down are just, rubbing their hands together going, yeah, because that's what they want. The real effort has to be from the bottom up. We've got to somehow put aside our differences. And I know that there's some very strong, very polarizing issues that keep us divided, but somehow, some way, we have to accept the idea that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So all of the left, you've been manipulated. Hey, you folks on the right, you've been manipulated too. You're not immune. And it's being done to us by the people who are pulling the strings up above. That's what we have to come to grips with. And that's going to be a little bit of a bit difficult. All right, so I just wanted to throw that in there. There are a couple other things that I was going to get to. Let me see here. Oh, yes, what's going on in Vietnam? Yeah, they are desperate to get the CBDC thing happening. You know what happened in Vietnam? Listen to this.
Why is Vietnam the testing ground for the new banking order? Well, recently, Vietnam imposed a requirement for a digital ID, including a biometric scan of everyone in order to have a bank account. And what they did to enforce this is they closed 86 million bank accounts and seized all of the assets in those accounts.
I'm going to pause that. That's 86 million accounts were shut down.
So the owners of those accounts have no ability to do banking or access their funds because they chose not to sacrifice their privacy and submit to this biometric surveillance tracking mechanism. Well, this is not something that is going to stay in Vietnam. This is a test because if we look at, for example, what's going on with the European Central Bank and Digital ID initiative in Europe, as well as the Real ID and the CBDC system FedNow being imposed in the United States, we can see that it is coming to us as well. So what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, what you going to do about it? Well, let me see. It's Taco Tuesday. Go have some tacos, right? Yeah. And don't forget, we got Thursday Night Football coming up. That's what we'll do about it. But I wanted to share that with you because if people are going to comply, then we're screwed. And in the previous clip that I was playing, people who were gathering up there at the Ostrich farm, the gentleman who was being interviewed reminded us about what happened in Ottawa a few years ago. Remember the huge truckers convoy and what they did to all the people who were participating in the demonstration in Ottawa, Canada? They shut their bank accounts down. This is what they're doing. This is their tactics. So how do we stop that? I mean, this is, I'm not going to forget that. And all of the issues that were surrounding this whole COVID hokey-pokey thingy-dingy, they were forcing at everybody. Have you forgotten about that? I haven't forgotten. And here's another woman who hasn't forgotten either.
It was 5 years ago. You just need to get over it. That's what somebody said to me. So let me just remind you. At this time, 5 years ago, I was in lockdown for 2 weeks while my grandmother was dying and I couldn't go visit her because of the COVID restrictions. It was this time 5 years ago where the entire world got locked down and people were dying every single day and their families couldn't go visit them because of the restrictions. It was this time 4 years ago that I had to break in to a hospital to see my grandfather who had suffered a stroke after getting the vaccine. And I had to beg and cry and fall to my knees in front of a police officer who was standing guarding the emergency exits, the emergency entrances at the hospital. And I broke in there to go see my grandpa because of what had happened. It was at this time, not that long ago, where I had to lie to get into a different hospital because my brother had a near fatal motorcycle accident and I could only pretend to be his one allowed person. I had to pretend to be his girlfriend to go in and see him after he just got out of a coma. It was this time not that long ago that my dad died. He had taken the vaccines because he thought he had no choice. He was almost 60 years old. He didn't think he had another option and he was going to lose his license and his job had he not gotten the vaccine. It was this time not that long ago that people were screaming at me in grocery stores and yelling at me in the streets for not wearing a mask. It was this time not that long ago that families were split apart, people hating each other from the same families, where people weren't allowed at the Christmas dinner because they didn't have an experimental vaccine injected into their bodies. Do you remember? Have you forgotten? Are you one of those people that just like a goldfish, you forget what happens to you yesterday? So while I don't have the same anger in my heart because I had to choose to let that go for my own well-being, I'm never going to get over it. I am never going to forget what happened to us. I cannot. Because you think it's going to be the last time? You think it's the last time? Look at what the WEF is doing. Look at the new pandemic treaties. Look at everything that's happening. So while I no longer hold the same anger in my heart, I will always remember what happened. And I'm never going to just get over it. It will always be present for me because it has to. We need to be prepared for the future. And in any next times, we need more voices like mine that said, no, I will not wear a mask. I will not conform. I will not pass you my veins. No, I am resisting to the system that is here to sicken us, oppress us, and literally put us 6 feet underground.
That's right. That's right. And to put us 6 feet underground. The globalist agenda is to drastically reduce the world population. Simple as that. And I'm not making that stuff up, folks. You know it. You regular listeners know exactly what I'm talking about. So the point is, no, we must never forget. We can forgive. You know, they always say forgive and forget. No, I'll forgive. But no, you don't forget. Because those who forget their history are destined to repeat it. And if we're going to go through these lockdowns again, and like I was just sharing with you, Vietnam closed down 86 million bank accounts. What's going to happen when they pull that crap here? You going to comply? Well, now's the time to prepare, folks. Now's the time. Anyway, so we're getting attacked on many different fronts. As a matter of fact, there's a candidate for governor in the state of New Jersey. Her name is Mickey Sherrill, or Sherrill, I should say. And she was being interviewed, and I'll tell you, if you folks in New Jersey, you Jersey boys and girls, better pay attention to this one, especially if you've got kids. Listen to this.
Should parents have the right to opt their kids out of LGBTQ-related content in the same way that right now they can be removed from sex ed and health curriculum classes?
Look, I believe that parents have the right to oversee their children's education. I would push an LGBTQ education into our schools. Parents have a right to opt out of a lot of things, but this is not an area where they should be opting out, because this is an area of understanding the background of people throughout our nation. And right now we see, for example, at the Naval Academy, an erasure of history.
Steve Sweeney.
Oh my goodness. Do you understand? She's saying that the LGBTQ rainbow flag, transgender, transsexual, trans this and that, that's going to be literally shoved down your kids' throats. You won't be able to opt out. How do you feel about that, New Jersey? And how about the rest of the states? How would you feel if that was a policy in the schools that was mandatory? Now, I'm not saying that, that we should learn to hate the LGB, the TQ plus. I don't know. I'm having problems with that, especially that plus at the end, which basically is a placeholder for pedophilia. No. Leave the kids alone. Let them be kids. At that age, all the little boys know is that girls have cooties, and vice versa. They don't need to be having all this rainbow stuff shoved down their throat. Anyway, that's my feeling. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, okay? Oh, my word. All right, I'll tell you what. I'm going to open up the phone lines. I do have some stuff that has been coming out about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to get to that in a couple of minutes. But if you would like to call in, you want to belly up to the telephone bar, you're welcome to do so. And somebody's already got the phone number there, 215-867-8255. Hello, caller. Good morning.
Hello, it's Carolyn. I've got your number memorized.
Oh, my goodness. How you doing, my dear?
Oh, well, okay. New Jersey, sorry to tell you this, but you're not going to be able to go have Taco Tuesday because your bank account's closed.
Yeah, right. Oh, boy.
I mean, you have always been able to just, a lot of people skirt around the issues, and you've always had this capacity. And I'm like, if they kill those birds, I mean, does that not tell you ostriches? I mean, we've actually used that as an analogy. If you're an ostrich, sticking your head in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what is this, like, ironic? Like, bad poetry? I mean, this is, I don't know what to say, Dave, except for, how do you answer the question, what do we do? The question is what is it going to take? Unfortunately, because the cells are here, because they're ready for their marching orders, have you thought about it? That maybe the reason that they're not haven't begun their orders yet to blow up a building or a community or go ahead, is perhaps because we're doing such a good job at destroying each other, arguing about who's right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what would be the direction other than our self-defense is to do? I mean, what's it going to take? What's it going to take before? I mean, I'm one person trying to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a roommate that sits watching football, has no clue he's going to lose his money.
Mm-hmm.
So what direction do we go? Obviously prayer, but these people are pleading for these animals. They're starving them out. It's like, well, you know what? If it was your dog, then you'd raise a snake? I mean, I don't get it. And obviously, the ostriches, there's probably some good medicine there. Otherwise, they wouldn't want to destroy the animals, just like the cows and the chickens that apparently they're shooting the mRNA with.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just as frustrated. I don't know the answer to what are we going to do. I don't know. Other than I'm listening to the, I forget his name, G.R. Mobley.
Yeah.
Forgive me for hitting on his last name, but about the Constitution going, oh, wow, that's right. They made sure that we didn't know that we could form a militia. They made sure of it. So I'm speechless. I'm just beyond, except for I just wanted to say, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what it's going to take, but we are getting hit on all. They don't see it yet. We see the attacks. We see the new weapons. We see the starve. They're starving us out just by our food supply. We don't even know it yet.
Yeah.
Let alone the fact that they're poisoning the food now.
Yeah.
And so I'm sorry, but go ahead, go on. I don't know the answer. I don't know what it's going to take, but I can guarantee you something bad's going to happen, and you know it. They're not going to walk away just because Trump makes a couple of good points and deals. I'm like, what? It's about Tylenol? I thought that the whole link with the autism was because of the vaccine. And it comes out, it's Tylenol? I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, right.
Sure. And no mention of Israel. There's no mention of the genocide. So you tell me. I'm going to hang up, okay?
Okay. All right, Carolyn. I appreciate the call. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what we're going to do. And you're right. I mean, the powers that be have all kinds of weaponry that we have no clue. We have no clue. They've got these sonic weapons. They can pull up this truck and put up this big, like, square dish and aim it at a crowd, and they flip a switch, and all of a sudden you feel like your skin's on fire. I mean, they have all kinds of bizarre, weaponry. And so, all as far as the militia is concerned, yeah, okay, well, you got your AR, your AK, and you got your hand firearm and all that. None of that's going to matter when it hits the fan. I don't know what the solution is. Maybe we're just going to have to hit rock bottom and then have to claw our way back up. But by that time, it may be too late. I just don't know. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back.
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary.
And you can get more tank by visiting our website, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page, and then you can go down to where it says Get More Tank. Click on that. It'll tell you all about it, all the specifications and details, how and why it works. Cleans out your engine, makes the fuel burn at a lower temperature, which means improved mileage. And that's right, folks. Depending upon your make, model, and year and vehicle and your driving habits, you're going to see between 15 and 20% better mileage once you've started using this stuff. So it only costs $20 with the promo code. The promo code is RedPill101. That's what this broadcast is all about. And so if you use that promo code, you'll get 5 tablets for $20. And hey, once you've conditioned your car, the first application, you put 2 tablets in for a full tank. From that point on, it's 1 tablet per tank of gas. So when you purchase 5 tablets for $20, if you're getting 20% better mileage, that means the 5th tank is free. Do the math. Spend $20, get a free tank of gas. That's what it comes down to. Plus, your vehicle runs a whole lot better. So check it out, folks. Go to TheWTFReports.com and then get more tank. Okay, there are a couple of issues here. I do want to get to the Charlie Kirk assassination because all hell is breaking loose with that. However, there is a news story that is blowing my mind, and basically, this came out in the end of April, and I don't know why we didn't hear about it before now, but apparently a Trump cabinet member has been accused of filming child gang rape. You heard it right, folks. I'm going to read from this article. This is from, war correspondent Timothy Charles Holmseth, and he writes, National Security, Trump cabinet member named by child victim in gang rape and cannibalism case. Evidence shows a very high-level member of President Donald Trump's cabinet is named as a perpetrator in a horrific crime against humanity, a horrific crime against humanity case unfolding in Casper, Wyoming. In October 2025, a judge in Natrona County in Casper, Wyoming is going to hear a child custody case, which is actually a cannibalism case that involves a small child of a federal employee. The federal employee is named Jacob Newmiller, a child who is under the direction of his father and his wife, Andrea Newmiller, has been gang raped while filmed for international child pornography distribution, forced to eat what the boy refers to as chum, and forced to participate in murder. If this is true, now I'm not taking this one to the bank. However, when I scroll down to the bottom of the text in here, it says, see the link below for more information. And so I clicked on it. It says the Newmiller case, facts and information. Boink, and here it comes. Oh, it's a PDF document. United States Federal Court, Tampa Division. Tampa? The offense area details. And it names Kash Patel. State of Wyoming, FBI. Tennessee, FBI. Alabama, FBI. Plaintiffs, Jesse Marie Zebitar. Let me see, case number. I got the case number here. Oh, my goodness. Let me see, defendants. There are 8 defendants here. It says Director of FBI Kash Patel acting in capacity as FBI Director over the state of Wyoming, Tennessee, and Alabama. 601 4th Street, Northwest Washington, D.C., blah, blah, blah. Tennessee FBI office, and it gives those addresses too. Anyway, I don't know if I should be reporting this. I don't know if this is a psyop or a horse hockey or what the heck it is. But if this is, it looks like it is. It's stamped, this court case is stamped on April 8th of 2025. So it's been out there for a few months. But it's been very quiet. So we'll have to see what's going to happen. They said that they're slated to go into trial in a few weeks in October. So I'm going to be following this one, folks. This is pretty heavy stuff. Maybe that's why we're not getting a whole lot out of Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. I don't know. But that's some pretty heavy stuff. Now, in the meantime, last night I stayed up. I watched this entire 1-hour presentation from Ian Carroll. Now, for those of you who know, he's a deep researcher. He's up there with Whitney Webb and a whole bunch of other people who are basically internet sleuths. And as I mentioned last week, the Charlie Kirk assassination, this brings out all kinds of conspiracy theories. Okay, there was this guy over on his right that was giving hand signals, and another guy was giving, touching his hat. And then there's a guy in front of Charlie who touches his sleeve, and they're saying, oh, that's the guy. Oh, this is the guy. Here's the guy. This is the guy that shooted. And I was staying away from all that. I'm just staying away from all these conspiracy theories and the whodunits. I've been focusing in on the official narrative. And as time has gone on, the official narrative is so filled with holes and inconsistencies and impossibilities. And, they've been showing you over and over on the news this guy running across the roof. Why are they showing you the back part of that video? Why don't they back it up just another 3 to 5 seconds? Because the point of view from that camera would show the guy, if he was lying on the roof and taking the shot, that would be in the video. But they don't show you that part. They cut the first 3 to 5 seconds, and then you see him running. Why is that? There's a ton of questions as to why the FBI is handling it the way it is. However, Ian Carroll, he, like I, have been going through all of these different possibilities and all these different analyses from the sound, the audio portion of different people who were recording, taking video. Well, you take the audio out, and depending upon where you are in the crowd is going to determine what the sound is going to be like, because the sound's going to be different on this side of the crowd than it will on the other side. And so they've been doing analysis and checking out the report and the thump. That's what they call the crack thump. You hear the gunshot, and then there's the thump, which is the impact. So what happens is that you triangulate, and it gives you a better idea of the location of the source of the crack, of the report, of the shot. And it's not up on the roof, folks. It's over to the right of Charlie Kirk. And so that's just one of the analyses. Then there were some other analyses, and there was some footage that I had not seen of. They were taken from the Charlie's left. In other words, on the side where the exit wound would have been. And this one particular video, they took it frame by frame, and it appears that they caught the bullet after it had exited Charlie's neck. So anyway, this whole thing is just, like I said, this whole official story stinks to high heaven. And then we have to ask the question, why? If the FBI is lying, and all indications are showing that they are lying over and over, withholding evidence, making stuff up, if they are lying, then that indicates that this is a huge operation. This is not a lone gunner. Whacked out shooter. Oh man, I tell you, this is a huge can of worms. So again, if it's on YouTube, and all you got to do is type in, it's Ian Carroll, IAN, Carroll, CARROLL, Ian Carroll, and the 1 hour analysis is called "Is Tyler Robinson a patsy?" So go and look that up. Okay, let's see. We got another phone caller. Who do we have, and where are you calling from? Welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm being redundant. It's Carolyn.
Oh gosh.
And California. Hey, well, I couldn't resist this one. It's so obvious. It's kind of like look at the playbook of the last God, what do you call it, operation when they tried to kill Trump. So. Butler. So I got a thought for you. I heard that the Turning Point was funded by the Black Rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And so how is it possible that they built him up to assassinate him to carry on the Civil War.
Well, I don't think that was the original goal, because if you recall, for the longest time, Charlie's been a very strong supporter of Israel. It's only in the past few months that he started to really question, and I've got a bunch of clips I want to get to. So
that's true.
Let me let you.
So it's so obvious. Okay, no, go ahead. But it's obvious to me that the connection is blatantly obvious.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, let me let you go so I can get to these clips. All right, thank you much. Okay, let me jump over here. All right, first of all, people have been accusing Charlie of being a racist, okay? So let me see. Is Charlie a racist? Well, here's a couple of folks that were talking about his presentation. An actual racist started to ask him a question. Listen to this exchange here.
Man, if he's a racist, he's a really bad one. This is how Charlie responded to an actual racist.
I want to ask a question of you. What does it mean to be an American? Is it an idea or a history, a shared history, or is it a skin color?
Well, I mean, you could go back to the original founding fathers, the Immigration Act of, I believe it was...
What does it mean to be an American? Is it a skin color or something else?
So there's the current idea of what it means according to...
Now, watch what this dude says here in a second, and you're going to see why Charlie does this.
But if you go back to the original founding fathers, they intended this to be a European nation for white men of good stock and character.
So that, but let me say, that's an actual racist.
White men of good stock.
That's an actual racist. Now, watch how Charlie responds.
So, can you show me? Let me answer the question. Can you show me where in the United States Constitution it says that?
It wasn't in the Constitution.
It wasn't in the Constitution because they didn't believe it.
The founders explicitly clear.
What does the phrase "e pluribus unum" mean? What does the phrase "e pluribus unum" mean?
Why is that relevant?
Because it was on every founding document and presidential seal from our founding, which means out of many, one.
Come on,
you,
man.
sir, and your ideology is not conservative. It is right-wing, identitarian, and has no place in the conservative movement, my friend. Get out of line. Get out of line.
Oh, my gosh. That's right. Clap
That's an ending. That's an ending.
What a lion. Yeah. Let's say you're a Christian. You're like, okay, I don't agree with the DEI thing. But why did Charlie have to go after it so much? It's just uncomfortable. Why do you have to do that? You can really hear his heart for his why in this clip.
You will never be the best version of yourself if you allow other people to convince you that you can't be better because of your skin color, because of your sexual identity, because of the community you came from. You must resist those narratives at all costs if you truly want to be successful in America.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty amazing stuff. So all those folks out there screaming that Charlie Kirk was a racist, sit down. You're wrong. Or you're just buying the horse hockey that's been fed to you by the mainstream networks that just can't stand Charlie Kirk. So anyway, so there's that, and then there's also, I've got several clips here I played in the past. I'm going to put these puzzle pieces together. Remember what Charlie said about the Epstein files.
We as the American people deserve to have every Epstein file released with no redactions whatsoever, period. Right. And so yesterday, I don't want to comment because a lot of these people are my friends, but they got to make it right. And we, the American people, ran on transparency. We deserve to see the entire client list. Yeah. Every document the government has regarding the Epstein files, we, the American people, should have on an easy-to-access website immediately in a very, very quick fashion. I'm pushing for that both privately and publicly, just so you know.
So he wanted the Epstein files to come out. There are a lot of people that don't want those Epstein files to come out because they might implicate, as Dan Bongino said, some Middle Eastern country. Right, as if we can't figure that one out. Anyway, there was also this issue about the donors, okay? Carolyn asked a little while ago, that money that was all coming in, yeah, he was getting a lot of money from Israeli donors, and he stopped taking it.
Jewish donors, they have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the number one funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And now it's coming for Jews, and they're like, what on earth happened? And it's not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it. It's like time for you guys to wake up and say no more. Draw a line in the sand. I don't care if you hate me.
Okay, so would you say that that lately Charlie was not so supportive of Israel?
Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. Now, I don't like generalizations. Not every Jewish person believes that. But it is true, the Anti-Defamation League was part and parcel with Black Lives Matter. It is true that some of the largest financiers of left-wing anti-white causes have been Jewish Americans. They went all in on woke, and it wasn't just ADL. It was some of the top Jewish organizations in the country that have done that. In fact, we have seen this with the recent retreat of Jewish donations that are no longer going to be administered to colleges, right? Mark Rowan, Leon Copperman. Can we get that full list? It's very powerful. The part of the, so that's totally true. And by the way, Tucker Carlson reinforces this. So I'm going to it was quite a day on the internet. Tucker Carlson was interviewing Candace Owens. We have Candace Owens coming up next hour. And Tucker Carlson mentions that Jewish Americans have primarily been financing cultural Marxist ideas. We said this, by the way, last week, and people came after us. We were on top of it. We actually said it in a different way. We said, I'm glad that Jewish Americans are reconsidering their financing of cultural Marxism. And people misunderstood it intentionally and slandered us as being anti-Semites. But listen to this. Tucker Carlson is completely correct by saying this, that the philosophical foundation of anti-whiteness has been largely financed by Jewish donors in the country.
The Calgary plan, that seems to be ringing true. All right, I got one more here, and then I'm going to put a couple puzzle pieces together. Now, this is one of the clips here that everybody is realizing this is the one that maybe got Charlie in trouble. And this is an issue that yours truly has been screaming about for almost 2 years, and that is the Hannibal Directive. The October 7th attack into Israel was done by Israel. That's my conclusion. Okay? This whole thing about Hamas, it doesn't make sense. And there's the documentary, I've mentioned it many, many times, that, the attack on Israel on October 7th was 100% an inside job. And when you watch the documentary, you hear the interviews with former IDF soldiers and officials. All you have to do is listen with your own ears. All right, well, here's the clip that I think is basically pushed Charlie over the top, or into their crosshairs, shall we say, maybe literally.
I have less ability sometimes online to criticize the Israeli government without backlash than actual Israelis do. It's
been
almost
so
as if
unfair. They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Like, I host a person that I moderate the debate of, mind you, right? And I give equal time to Josh Hammer, equal time to a pro-Israel advocate, and my moral character is being put into question. And so I think it's a hyper paranoid, like, we're just going to try to, we're going to just stamp out everything type of practice.
It's there's some rule you can't go there when it comes to Israel.
Well, you and I believe that we're Americans and Americans first, period. End of story. We are citizens of this nation, okay?
That's right.
Israel, we have funded, we have supported, like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite. But my moral character is now being put into question, Megan. Not my decisions, not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this.
Okay, now that wasn't the clip that I wanted to play, but it was nonetheless significant. I think this is the one here. This is the one that I think that really got him in trouble.
You might have silenced Charlie Kirk's voice.
No, that's not it. No, where did I put it? I put it in the special place so I wouldn't forget it. Now I can't find it. But anyway, he was asking the question, was there a stand-down order? I'm sure you've all heard that Was there a stand-down order? And a lot of folks didn't like that question. No, you can't ask that question. Well, I got to tell you, folks, there was, let me see if I can pull it up here. I'm going to have to basically translate it because the IDF soldiers were at the Knesset, and here it is, okay? Excuse me. They're on video here, and they're basically explaining what happened at 6:30 in the morning of October 7th. Now, for those of us out here that have been saying, hey, this was an inside job, maybe this has something to do with it. I'm going to play this, and I'm going to have to read the translation here. 6:30 in the morning, October 7th, okay, starts before, for us, October 7th starts before 6:30. As a soldier in the mortar platoon of the Gondoli Brigade's 13th Battalion, and that night myself, Yotam Yisurar, my sergeant, Tamar Ben Yehuda, may he rest in peace, the three of us were pulling an all-nighter. On Sabbaths and holidays, we'd let ourselves pull an all-nighter until the dawn stand-to. And we in the mortar platoon have time to sleep until the next stand-to. So, at 5:20 a.m., we're sitting by the radio so as not to wake the radio operator. And my deputy battalion commander, Neil Boinfield, who was seriously injured, and thank God he survived, suddenly gets on the radio with a strange message. All stations, I don't know why, I don't know how, something along those lines. No patrol on the morning of 5:20. You see, what time is it? 5:20 in the morning. All stations are to hold their positions. So in terms of ground forces and OREV, we don't have anything significant. The brigade issued a directive for our forces pending a situation assessment until 9 a.m. No vehicle is to approach Burma. I'll say it again. Until 9 in the morning, pending the situation assessment, no vehicle is to go down to the area. We're in near staging areas. At brigade level arrangement, I don't know exactly why. I don't ask too many questions. That's the directive. That's what we were to do. A little before it all begins, and Tomar gives us this look like, what? And we're simple soldiers, just combatants, not commanders or officers who can ask questions. It's an order from the deputy battalion commander. We take the order and don't ask questions, a routine passing on an order. And sure enough, an hour later at 6:30, suddenly sirens. Okay, those are the testimonies from the soldiers that were on the wall. I mean, they're basically explaining they were told to stand down. So yes, Charlie was right in asking that question. Was there a stand down order? Well, according to these guys, there was. And by the way, a couple days ago, I saw another interview, another video, of soldiers, of IDF veteran soldiers, absolutely losing their mind in the Knesset because they're all suffering from PTSD. Oh, I wonder why. And they're not getting the right treatment. They're not getting the right medication. They're not getting the right health care. And they were very, very upset. And I can't blame them. I can't blame them for being upset. Of course, we all know how well a government takes care of our veterans, don't we? Yeah, right. So it's the same story, different country. So more and more people are starting to realize that, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And, Louis Farrakhan, I don't agree with, a lot of what he says, but sometimes, he makes a lot of sense. Listen to this quote from Louis Farrakhan. Yeah, the powers that be want us fighting each other. Listen up.
Have you noticed that the Republicans and the Democrats can't agree on nothing except when it comes Israel and Netanyahu can come over here? You see the leader of the Republican, the leader of the Democrat standing together with Netanyahu. Is that a strange picture? That you can't agree on the welfare of the American people, but you can agree on what is in the best interest of Israel? Talk back to me.
Yeah, that's about the size of it. Yeah, you can't talk about the benefit of our citizens. The boy got to take care of the Israelis. And that's why Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to cut funding going to Israel.
Israel bombed a Catholic church in Gaza, and that an entire population is being wiped out as they continue their aggressive war in Gaza. My amendment would strike $500 million in funding for nuclear-armed Israel's missile defense system. The U.S. already provides Israel with $3.8 billion annually in foreign aid. $3.8 billion, that's a lot of money. Additionally, the April 2024 security supplemental included $8.7 billion for Israel. Even though Israel, nuclear-armed Israel, has universal health care for their citizens and subsidized college for their citizens. They're able to provide that. However, here in America, we're $37 trillion in debt. My amendment will ensure an America First Department of Defense, and that is exactly what we need, and we haven't had for a very long time.
You know, I got to tell you, folks, if you call your representative and tell them to stop taking money from AIPAC, and by the way, it's a very good chance that they are taking money. I've only heard of 10 members of Congress who are not taking money from AIPAC. So call your representative and ask them, are you taking money from AIPAC? Are you? Well, I suggest you give that money back and start serving this country. And all these people, you know, all these people that have dual citizenship, that's got to go too. No.
Cece, what are you doing? They're talking about coming after people with dual citizenship, Sarah. I have to leave back to Spain. Whoa. Yeah, can you believe that? But people in Congress can have dual citizenship. I didn't know that. Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut, Ron Wyden from Oregon, Benjamin Cardin from Maryland, all Israeli citizenship, by the way. Barbara Boxer from California, Russ Feingold from Wisconsin, Chuck Schumer from New York, Steve Cohen from Tennessee. Do we see a trend? Oh, that's a lot. Howard Berman from California, Susan Davis from California, Elliot Engel from New York, Bob Filner from California, Barney Frank from Massachusetts, Gabrielle Giffords from Arizona, Alan Grayson from Florida, Jane Harmon from California, Paul Hodes from New York. Whoa, so this many members of Congress are not just American, they're Israeli? Nita Lowy from New York, Jerry Nadler from New York, Jared Paulus from Colorado, Steve Rothman from New Jersey, Jan Schapkowski from Illinois, Adam Schiff from California, Allison Schwartz from Pennsylvania, Brad Sherman from California, all Israelis. I mean, it almost sounds like we're the United States of Israel. Obviously, Sarah, jeez. Henry Waxman from California. They're not going to go after them. Yeah, don't you find it funny how? I don't know what to say. Yeah, well, it's pretty obvious who's in charge here. Not us. So I'm leaving.
Oh, tell it like it is, sweetheart. I got to tell you, folks, do you know what the motto of the Mossad is? By deception, we shall wage war. So they rely on deception. And there's also something, in quotes, take the silver or take the lead. How does that apply? And who might that apply to? Yeah, got to start thinking outside the cage, folks. Oh, man. So anyway, there are a couple things, other things I wanted to get to, but that's okay. I'll get to them tomorrow. We're just going to have to keep our eye, on the bouncing ball here. I'll tell you, we are all being psyoped. I am waiting for somebody to be arrested. We keep hearing about the January 6th thing. We hear about the, 2020 election. We hear about, the COVID vaccine. I mean, there's so much. Russia collusion, Letitia James. And all of these people have committed crimes and nobody's been arrested. Well, this has been going on for decades. Yes, there's salacious, scandalous corruption and treason over and over for years, and nobody ever goes to jail. Well, hopefully that will turn around. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today's edition of the WTF Reports. I certainly appreciate your listenership, and if you're listening on Rumble or BitChute or YouTube or Facebook, please click like, share, subscribe, and pass the word. All right, that's it. I'm out of here, folks. God bless you all. Stay safe, stay free, and I'll see you tomorrow.